Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pyro or John. I don't care what you call me. But this here is my Diablo 3 Reapers of Soul Season 7 Crusader Invoker build. That's a lot to hear. And by the way, let me just tell you that I have to thank my wonderful friend Gus for that awesome intro video. It hasn't been used at all in the last 3 years. But I think it looks good and it's suitable for what we're about to do. So, if you watch, you'll notice that I'm actually not doing too bad being solo. Sorry about that. And everything is sped up and it's actually really crazy fast. We're only doing 1.75 times faster than what it should be. But if you keep watching, you'll notice that, you know, crowd control, dealing with like large groups of people isn't too bad. It leads us really well, and damage handling is actually pretty decent up until this point right here where my wonderful cousin XiVLuisiferXiV decides to join in, and I can't really handle it. So this is on Torment 7. Yeah, Torment 7. And I was just running a regular Rift at this point. Right now it's running, at this point in time, it was running an Ancient Set Invoker Helm, Ancient Invoker Shoulders. We're running a Roland's chest piece at this point in time. Actually, after this video was recorded, I did update the armor to have Heart of Iron in there, just for some extra thorns damage, as well as I found myself an Ancient Flail to replace the one that I had on the build. It does have the Flail of the Steed, or the Flail of the Charge, and the Shield of the Steed, or whichever set piece it is. I'm really bad at this. Never done this before. As for other pieces, it does have a Traveler's Pledge on the neck. We have Focus and Restraint. I didn't put that until later on in the video because I didn't realize that I was using Litany and the Wailing Host, which actually has no bonus because I have too many set pieces. Now since my cousin's in there, you can see that his Wizard is actually doing some pretty good help, but he's Paragon 700 and something at this point in time, and I'm less than 300. We're getting some pretty good legendary drops. Yeah. And just before this video was actually recorded, my brother was on here, Morte Revenditor. If you check him out, he does a lot of games live streams. So if you check him out on Twitch, it's MorteRivenDitore. Now we're just about to end the Rift in just a couple of minutes here, but for an Invoker's build with only 3 ancient pieces and that's it, it actually doesn't do too bad. We're going to have a video a little bit later on that'll actually show you kind of what it is when it's properly geared out. I had my cousin give me a little bit of an assistance and redo some of the stats and change out a couple of pieces. I was doing like 336,000 damage at this point in time. At the end of the video though, I got it up to about 475, just kind of changing out a couple of skills and whatever else. There we go. Once we get to the Rift boss, you'll actually notice that like my cousin himself is struggling just a little bit being on 2-player, but once the both of us start hitting and my Thorns damage starts kicking in, it actually doesn't do too bad for Rift bosses, or even just elite packs in their own. One-on-one combat for the Invokers, you know what? It's not bad as long as you have the proper gearing and you have a gem in there that's giving you Thorns damage. And everybody does say that you should be using the oh crap, I forget what it was called. I'd have to double check in my chest, but it's a really good weapon. However, I like the Steed bonus on the current set, the shield and the mace set. It gives you about 100% damage for 5 seconds after you get off your mount, which if you pop, run, jump into an elite pack like this after just getting off the mount, it actually doesn't do too bad. And as you can see, we beat the Rift boss really quickly. Other than that, I mean, I've never run a Crusader build before this. I was always Barbarian or Demon Hunter, and for being Season 7 in Diablo 3, yeah, first character that I've ever gotten to be fully geared out, actually, on any seasonal build anyways. I do have to give props, I just gotta pull it up here, to the guy who actually did the Invoker build itself. I have to pull it up on my wonderful Google Chrome. Invoker build season 2.4.2. XiVLuisiferXiV.com. I'll have that link in the description there. And where's his name? So it's called the Crusader Endgame Thorns build with the Invoker set, patch 2.4.2 on season 7, and it is by Deadset. He did a really good job. His active skills he called for Punish as your left click, and the rune is Celerity. Steed Charges Endurance for your right click. Laws of Justice Decaying Strength for your number 1 key. Iron Skin Reflective Skin for number 2 key. Provoke Hit Me for number 3, and Accurate Champion Profit for your number 4 key. Passive skills: Fervor, Iron Maiden, Hold Your Ground, and Finery. I have all of these skills set up. However, I replaced I replaced Fervor for your two-handed wield, and where you would be using Heavenly Strength instead of Fervor just to give you the two-handed damage. Finery, I didn't have it on at that point in time when I was doing these runs. It was actually Fervor, switched over to Finery. Hold Your Ground, I swapped it out for Heavenly Strength. I kept Iron Maiden, and I had Indestructible. You know, every time you run into a group, the Finery would be definitely really good for the damage. All of the armor after this video was the rubies were swapped out for diamonds. What I wasn't thinking about is your resist alls. I was thinking strength, just pure damage. My bad. But after the video, we swapped them all over to diamonds, and he was doing 475,000 damage, and that Finery really helped out to make up for not having any rubies in. One of my rings actually had the Boyarchy's chip, just to help with those extra thorns damage. Now, when you start getting into the groups, what you definitely want to look forward for is that Laws of Justice and Iron Skin Reflective Skin. Those two are definitely going to really help you when you hit the big groups. Now, while active, your thorns is increased by 300% when you have reflective skin on. So, especially with the thorns build, that 300% is really going to be helpful. Now, with Laws of Justice Decaying Strength, while the law is empowered, any enemy who attacks you or your allies will have their damage reduced by 15% for 5 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 60%. So while they're hitting you and they're dying, they're also losing a lot of their power. Provoke Hit Me, that's just basically 50% increased block chance for 4 seconds. And then Accurate Profit, first time you take fatal damage while Accurate's champion is active, you'll be returned to full life. Just because it's a hardcore build, I'm not running on softcore here. I only run hardcore characters, and I'm just trying to make sure that it's not going to be a glass cannon. You notice that quite a bit throughout the video here, you'll notice that, you know, with being Torment 7 and having Ill Misfit there, it's definitely a little bit more challenging for my character. At this point in time, I didn't actually have a really good build, but after the video, I'll have a short clip on the next one where we actually show you how the character does, or probably at the end of this video. I did swap out the Roland's chest piece that I had. We swapped it out for a Heart of Iron, and it does have some Thorns bonus on it. Everything else that Deadset calls for, I basically have on the character, except for the Compass Rose and the Traveler's Pledge. I swapped them out for a Maris Kaleidoscope, and then we have Focus and Restraint for rings. Gems, Boyarchy's Chip is definitely in one of my rings, and Bane of the Trapped is in another one. It does call for Bane of the Stricken, but I don't have the actual socket at that point in time for the Maris Kaleidoscope. Incanized Cube. I do not have the Akarat's Awakening Shield. I ended up using Convention of Elements instead. I have Achilles Cuirass. Holy crap, I can't even talk today. I have Achilles Cuirass just to reduce that damage because it is hardcore and I don't want to die all of the time. And Convention of Elements is definitely handy if you have one of the elements that it flips through in the order it does. Sometimes you can use Akarat's Awakening. It does call for the set where is it? Akarat's Awakening as an offhand shield or Voitoyas Spiker. Well, it's a Spiker shield anyways, and it wants Thorns on those. And then Hack. Hack is the weapon that you definitely would want with this Thorns build, as it does 75 to 100% of your Thorns damage is applied on every attack, just based on your roll, right? Now, other than that, this Invoker build does really, really well, and if you're looking for something that is really good at cutting through mass enemies and you're soloing in rifts and greater rifts, definitely something you would want to be interested in. The set dungeon actually wasn't too hard. With that Achilles Cuirass and the Convention of Elements, I didn't have much of a problem dealing with it once I swapped out for Achilles instead of the Illusionary Boots, which I originally had in the cube. Um, I don't have any actual footage of me completing the set dungeon, however, I can upload it at a future point in time. My cousin Misfit here, he wants me to make him a video intro, and which that's kind of my next project after this. I will be adding. I definitely okay. So I'm gonna go back on what I said earlier. I'm definitely gonna be adding a updated video with the current setup, and we'll kind of go over that here in a couple of minutes. Right now, though, I forget. This is just a regular rift, yeah, or it's a greater rift. Greater rift, yes. So we're just doing a greater rift, just trying to do some gem runs, seeing how it does. My cousin was complaining that I was taking too long killing all the little enemies, and I ended up calling him, sorry for the language, but a elite whore, because all he did was go after the elites. But as you can see, like, great movement speed with that steed charge there, and endurance does really, really well. We ended up swapping the endurance rune out for the spiked horse rune. So it kind of does your thorns damage as you run. It decreases the endurance. Going back to the cube, we have Swift Mount in the cube. You'll see it probably here shortly. But from this point on, just watch, enjoy, see if you like it, leave a comment, tell me any future information you like, and then at the end here we'll kind of go over the rebuild. So like I said, guys, that's the Invoker build. You can see how it runs. It does really, really well. And I hope you didn't mind the music. I thought those would be good songs for this. We're just going to sit here and we're going to wait for it to load up for a second. As you can see, I jumped onto Torment 8. And I do believe I was on Torment 8 before. We're just going to go over kind of the gear really quick. And then we'll get into the rest of it. So just 1 second here. So I don't know if you can tell, but I redid the look of the gear. It's all been redone. As you can see, that's an ancient set shoulders, and I was wrong about the helm. It's just a regular set helm. If you look, ancient set bracers, those are actually the Invoker bracers that I picked up and replaced. The only 2 pieces of ancient that I had on the first half of the video was just the boots and the shoulders. Now you can see set ring, focus, and restraint. And then we have flail, as well as the shield to match the set. That's the one that gives you 100% attack bonus after 5 seconds. And we have 197,000 thorns damage, give or take. It's not that bad, considering the fact that, 197,000 thorns is going on Torment 8 here. Here's the skills. Steed Charge, Spite, we got Punish, all of those are going to be the exact same. Indestructible, Iron Maiden, Finery, and Heavenly Strength as are your passive skills. Let me just run around and be weird, I don't know why. Open up a Nephilim Rift on Torment 8. Now, the way I do my Paragon points here is, in the first half of the Paragon points, we did Strength and Vitality. I did Strength right off the bat, Vitality. Cooldown reduction, you're definitely going to need a critical hit chance, or crit damage. Area damage, it was another one that was calling for. But yeah, you can just see. And then this is kind of how it runs on Torment 8 build. Hope you enjoy.